Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Triple Threat Show. I am your host, Jeremy Lapidus. Today is a beautiful January 27th. It is cold, it is icy, but that doesn't mean the show stops. The show must go on, and we are here to bring you all the biggest news from around the world of sports that took place yesterday and throughout today. We are going to cover everything that happened over the weekend that we missed on Monday's show. We'll go over the massive fight, 324. We saw a absolute beating of Patty Pimblett. We'll talk that one over at the end. We'll talk about the surprise Pro Bowl selection. Shitter Sanders, a Pro Bowler? We'll talk about what that means for the future of the Pro Bowl. And then we're going to talk about Giannis. We've kind of covered this a little bit, but things have heated up. He has yet another injury. It's going to keep him out 4 to 6 weeks. We'll answer the question, has he played his final game in a Bucks uniform? That's all coming up. To help me out with all of that, I've got my two friends and co-hosts, Mayrob Fatemi and Nolan Jamber. Welcome in. How are you guys doing today?
Great day to have a great day.
That's exactly right, Nolan. That's what I love to hear. And we've got a lot of big things to cover. Let's just start off right in the NBA. I think this is the big story of the day. Giannis Antetokounmpo. He is, and I hope this isn't gonna press your guys' buttons, the second best player in the world right now. Maybe the third. He's top three in my mind, regardless. We can have a conversation of where exactly he ranks in there, but I can't really put him below three as of right now. He is amazing. He is also kind of rotting away up in Milwaukee, and I want to give him his props. He has done everything he can to not ask for a trade out of there. He's put pressure on the front office, and the front office has tried to get wins. They go out and they get Dame Lillard, which on paper, that looks like a great move. It doesn't work out. Injuries to both him and to Giannis end up cutting that relationship short. They're unable to be very successful in the playoffs. They're unable to be very successful together or play a lot of games really at all in the regular season. That one just becomes a mess. They bring in Miles Turner this offseason. They trade and they keep Kyle Kuzma as they try to get more offense around him. Ryan Rollins has really stepped up, and yet it just is not working the same for this team with Giannis and without him, really, at the same time. It is just a massive mess over in Milwaukee, and I get the sense he's played his last game, even if he doesn't get traded at the February 5th deadline. I don't think he comes back the rest of the season. This team isn't good enough for him to risk coming back, aggravating another injury. Giannis is just kind of done, Mayrob, yeah?
I think you're right, Jeremy. I mean, the guy's 31 years of age. He's just getting on the old. I mean, he's in the middle of his prime. I'm not saying he's old. He's in the middle of his prime, and the way that the Bucks are built right now, like we've talked about it before too. They're just not going anywhere. Even right now, they're losing to the Philadelphia 76ers. They've given up 140 points to the Philadelphia 76ers. They're 18 and 26. They're a team that just doesn't feel like they're going anywhere. And you have a guy in Giannis Antetokounmpo, which I agree with you. He's top 3, top 4 at the worst right now, in my book. Giannis Antetokounmpo. So, I think, I mean, you're completely right. He needs to get up out of there, and that's why there's so much buzz around it. I mean, he knows it as well at this point. He's been really, kind of wishy-washy on the mic, sometimes saying I've never requested a trade out, other times being really, really cryptic with his answers during post-game interviews. And now you get reports from Mark J. Spears. You get reports all over ESPN saying that he's played his last game in a Bucks uniform. So I think all signs point to him getting traded, either at the trade deadline or at the latest this summer.
We've seen superstar trades in the NBA before. Most recently, of course, Luka. Before that, we've seen Kevin Durant get handed around a bunch of times. Kyrie Irving. You can list a bunch of superstar trades that have happened in the NBA. But one point that has been brought up constantly surrounding this Giannis conversation has been the fact that there hasn't really been a track record of these mid-season trades working out. The only way that you can really call it working out because of how many assets you have to give up, the future and the current assets that you have to give up to A, match salary, and B, pay the actual price tag. It's just so much on you that if you don't win a championship, it can be seen as a failure. And because of that, I think there's a real chance that Giannis doesn't even get moved at the deadline. There's a lot of reason to be concerned on both sides. Nolan, even though, and I think the general consensus in the triple threat group here is he's not going to play another game in a Bucks uniform. Does he get traded at the deadline, or he's just out for the rest of the season?
I think the only problem with him staying is that his package is going to be so much. The Bucks are going to ask for a lot in return for Giannis. He's like he said, he's like Murav said, he's 31, still in his prime. He's averaging 30. He's averaging 28 and 10 still. And the problem is teams are going to want to take that offer. Teams going to want 2, 3, 4 first round picks for him. Don't get me wrong, I would do that if I'm a team. Giannis is still, like you said, phenomenal player, but what if he goes to what happened to Dame? He leaves Portland, goes to Milwaukee, and he falls off a cliff. Granted he gets injured, he can't that happens. But it's a situation like that. What if Giannis stops playing well? He leaves this environment that he's in where he's the superstar number one guy, and he goes to a team like, let's say hypothetically, I think he goes to a team like Golden State if he gets traded. He'd probably be the number 2 behind Steph Curry. Or he goes to, let's say, New York, the Knicks. He'd probably be the number 1 guy, but he could be 2 behind Julius excuse me. He'd be number two behind Jalen Brunson. I mean, you never know, but I think him being traded, it could definitely work out for us if he gets him. Just the package would be too much, and I don't know if teams would be able to handle that. If I'm any team, though, I'd go after him with anything I have just because he's still playing so well. But that downside risk of him maybe lowering his momentum because he's in a new spot, just a slight risk, but things happen like that.
He's so good, too. It's a shame because he is one of the top players in the entire world, and I feel like he's kind of rotting away in Milwaukee, and that's not what you want to say about a superstar, a future Hall of Famer, a former MVP, a Finals winner, a guy that's going to go down as one of the all-time greats, especially in a Milwaukee uniform. This isn't going to be one of those exits that I think people are going to hate the player for. Like we've seen the Kevin Durant ones, right? He leaves OKC, everyone in OKC hates him, right? Valid reason, he just up and went. Another sport, Bryce Harper leaves the Nationals for the Phillies. Hate, right? Look, there's reason here. There's good reason for us to dislike certain players, but this one, he really tried. He stuck it out after they won that championship. He waited for a reload, another reload, and it just hasn't come. How does this relationship end? What's his legacy in Milwaukee after this one, Rob?
I think he goes down as a guy that kind of tried to give the best that he could to the city. I mean, the hardest thing to talk about with this conversation is there was 2 nails in the coffin. The first one was the Celtics beating them in 2022, the last time he even got to the semifinals of a playoffs. He hasn't been out of the first round of the playoffs since 2022. And then the other one being the Indiana Pacers. The Indiana Pacers beating them 3 straight times in the playoffs to knock them out. So I think Giannis is in a position where, I mean, he brought a championship to the city of Milwaukee, which is huge, but he hasn't really done a whole lot other than that. Yeah, he's a Pro Bowl, he's an All NBA talent. He's a top 3 talent in the league, but you need some brass with you to go down as a really, really good player in this day and age. And they're comparing him to guys like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who has 5 championships now, 6 championships, I forget. But regardless, Giannis is in a really tough spot here for sure, though.
Here's the tough part. He's got a $54 million contract for the next couple years. $54 million this year, $58 million next year. Then he's got a player option, which he can take for $62 million, or he can opt out and be a free agent in his age 33 season, which means that worst comes to worst, he's in Milwaukee for 2 more seasons before opting out, or I guess a season and a half at this point before opting out. But I can't imagine that he's still there. Again, there are reasons to think that he's played his last game, but where would he go if he were traded? Because I don't think the Bucks trade him in the East. I don't think they trade him to the Knicks unless they get Jalen Brunson, and I don't think the Knicks are going to give up Brunson. I don't think that they're going to be willing to trade a guy like Giannis to a team in the Eastern Conference that they can help it, and I don't think the Golden State Warriors really have the assets to do it. They're the main team that you would think of in the West to do it. So what suitors would they even have? Are there suitors out here for him? Or again, is he just going to kind of be stuck there all season long?
We know the answer to that. And let's just say it's a team in LA that has all the money in the world and all the players to give.
But you got to match salary. That's the thing.
The Lakers have all the money in the world. They don't care. They will trade They will send their entire G League roster over for Giannis Antetokounmpo, and they won't care. It's the Lakers. They have all the money. They have all the assets. They get honestly. They could trade LeBron to Milwaukee. I wouldn't be surprised. They wouldn't, but
That
I
would be
mean,
shocking. LeBron would
would be
not take a trade to Milwaukee.
LeBron wouldn't take it, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Lakers say, "What if we?" They wouldn't. They would trade Ayton. Ayton would probably be like Ayton. They have to trade like Ayton, Reeves, and probably like Hachimura and like 3 first-round picks to get him. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Lakers did it. Lakers are constantly in win now mode, and I think now is win now. They're not. I think Lakers fans are kind of sick, especially there's some Lakers fans I see on Twitter and TikTok who are quite sick and fed up of DeAndre Ayton not being a good center. And I think that if they went and got Giannis, I think those Lakers fans would be pretty happy.
Mayrob, before we get out of here, we've got a really important question from the chat. A very important question from the chat. From at the Caleb Carney. Who's better? Jokic with crab claws for hands or Luka with horse legs for legs? A very important question. We need answering.
Probably Luka with horse legs. Because first of all, he'd be able to jump.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't jump off a curb right now, I would say. And second of all, he would actually be able to move faster.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. This is an easy question. Look, Jokic would pop the ball with his crab claws. And with Luka with horse legs is just a more athletic Luka. He's gonna dunk on everyone. It's just not fair.
It's a heated discussion topic.
It
I
really
like that
is.
question.
Look, these are the important
Very
questions
heated.
that we answer here on
That's
the
the,
Triple Threat Show.
that's the important stuff. I love that.
Guys,
Thank you, Caleb. Thank you for the question. Thank you for the engagement, Caleb. We appreciate that.
But like I said, we got to move off the NBA here because it's not the only league with big news. What you got?
I want to talk about something real quick because while you guys were talking, this came to me. Nolan, you guys were both talking about trade destinations. I really probably should have butt in first, but Caleb took the spotlight while I was trying to stop the conversation. There's a team in the Western Conference right now that there's a team that could trade for Giannis right now that I'm curious what you guys think about because they're really flying under the radar and we already know how good they are. This would destroy the NBA if it happened level proportions.
Clippers.
No.
Mavericks.
Yes,
That's my guess.
What if
Blazers 100%.
their first round picks the Oklahoma City Thunder trade for Giannis?
Okay.
No.
So here's the thing.
No.
Here's what I'll say about that, Mayrob. They're not going to do it. That would blow them up way too much. They'd have to give up like Chet. They'd have to give up like a couple more players just to match salary. And I just don't think it's worth it. You don't need to make a big move like that when you're already head and shoulders above the rest of the NBA.
But they're not head and shoulders that much. They're on a losing streak right now, and honestly, they haven't been playing that well over the last 15 games. So, especially with the slippage from Jalen Williams and their slippage, they could use a better defensive piece. It makes sense. With all the first-round picks that the Thunder, they have 10 to 15 first-round picks over the next 7 years.
They're the ones that could do it. You are right about that. I just don't really see it.
What about, is Hartenstein still out? Or is he back?
I think he's
Remember
back.
I said that just in case this actually happens.
All right. Clip it.
If it happens, Rob, you were the first to say it, man.
We'll find out. Trade deadline is on the 5th. So that's 9 days from now, right around the corner. The 5th at 3 p.m. is the trade deadline. We'll have a bigger trade deadline show as time gets on. But there was big controversy out of the NFL. And I want your guys' thoughts on this because one Shedeur Sanders back in the news. He is officially a 2025-2026 NFL Pro Bowler. Congratulations to Shedeur Sanders. And congratulations to the end of the Pro Bowl. Look, here's the thing. I'm not saying Shedeur Sanders single-handedly cut down the Pro Bowl because he absolutely did not. The Pro Bowl has been a joke for the last at least 5 seasons. They moved it away from an actual football game. They moved it away from Hawaii. Those are 2 reasons why these guys are not going anymore. they have already seen opt-outs every single year to the point where Snoop Huntley was a quarterback in the Pro Bowler a couple of seasons ago. Like, he's not a Pro Bowl, but he's forever a Pro Bowl quarterback. And when you're trying to stack these accolades up all time, we're going to stop that accolade is going to stop meaning things. And it has to stop meaning things. Look, we were talking about this before the show. Shedeur Sanders, more touchdowns than interceptions per our statistician Nolan Jamber. 10 interceptions, 7 touchdowns. Not very good. Now, I know he didn't play very many games, and I know he's on the Cleveland Browns, so I'm going to give him a little bit of slack for that.
Oh,
But that is not a Pro Bowl season in any way you can possibly look at that. The Pro Bowl's a joke. It's been a joke, and this just kind of cements it here. Is there a reason why Shedeur Sanders should be a Pro Bowl quarterback?
no, not at all.
None.
Nope.
No, it's just not possible. I don't think maybe if I definitely just don't think no, he just can't be. No way. He shouldn't be. Obviously, we were talking about that. Cam Ward should. He should be over him. But I mean, sure, just in absolutely no way. Hell, he's not even the best quarterback on his team. Dylan Gabriel's better than him. How is that possible?
Arguable. I'll give you it.
Well, it's debatable. It's debatable.
I'll
but
give
still.
you it. I think he's better than Dylan Gabriel. Not by much. But he's earned the right to be the starter. He has a lot more upside. That's the real key there. This also kind of ties into the Cleveland Browns coaching search a little bit. He might be their starting quarterback. They are having a whole issue looking for head coaches. They're having them write essays to get head coaching jobs, head coaching looks. We are back in school with this. That is kind of ridiculous, and it feels like it's scaring off all of the top candidates. All the best ones have pulled their names out from consideration of the Cleveland Browns. Rob, you should be the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. Just write them a nice essay about why you want to be the head coach of the Browns, and I think they might hire you as long as you hold on to Jim Schwartz as your defensive coordinator.
No, I want Jeremy Lapidus as my OC, and I want Nolan Jamber as my DC.
There you go.
Ooh.
Drawing
I
up
run a
some
tight
blitz
end
packages for Myles Garrett.
Here we go.
Shorts
I'm running
I signed my contract.
I'm running a 7-man blitz every play.
Every play.
We're playing gritty. We're playing gritty, hard-nosed defense.
But look, here's the thing. The Super Bowl is not for another 2 weeks. The NFL does this. They say, you know what? Everyone has to look at the Pro Bowl. And then they moved the Pro Bowl to a Tuesday. And then they invited Shedeur Sanders. And then they stopped playing an actual game of football. And it's just kind of a big mess, really, at the end of the day. It's just a bunch of games. It's a popularity contest, and the most popular players don't even want to be there, so they're not there. So it's like a secondary popularity contest. It's like a party where everyone's invited and nobody shows up. It's a big mess, and that's not what we want. That's not what we want. We want to celebrate this season. We want to celebrate the best players, and that just simply is not what that's just simply not what the Pro Bowl is right now. But there were other big news coming out of the NFL, Rob. Cooper Kupp had a huge catch, had a huge game in the NFC Championship game. He obviously was a legend for the Rams. Won the Triple Crown, won Offensive Player of the Year, won a Super Bowl MVP, had one of the most dominant seasons a wide receiver has ever had in NFL history. And then he goes to the Seahawks. Of course, hometown, played college there, grew up there. That's his team. He finishes off his career there most likely, but there was a report that came out the other day, Rob, talking about how he got pushed out of the Rams and what was going on around him and the league at that point. Tell me a little bit about this Cooper Kupp story.
Yeah, Jeremy, this is a really weird one. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, it's just when you apparently, just long story short, apparently the Rams urged Kupp to retire during the offseason. And this is a guy in Cooper Kupp that's been trying to negotiate a better contract, saying he'll take a pay cut, this, that, and the other. And then on top of all of that, after urging him, when Cooper Kupp said, no, I want to keep playing, they would go to the teams that were interested in him and saying he shouldn't be paid more than the veteran minimum because of his injury history. When you look at it all in all, I mean, yeah, Cooper Kupp does have an injury history, but the Seahawks also looked at him and said, no. That's probably the reason why Cooper Kupp went inside the division, because the team that knows him best, the Seattle Seahawks, one of the teams that knows him best, literally paid them a 3-year, $45 million contract. They rolled the dice on him, and it worked. Look at the dividends it's paid. I think not only has he been a key asset for the team here in the playoffs, I think he's taught Jackson Smith and Jigba a lot of different things about how to be a better wide receiver. I think he's been a great mentor for the team. I think he's a great wide receiver. He's a great addition. And he's kind of similar to like a Tyler Lockett-esque guy, except like a lot better than Tyler Lockett, unfortunately.
No, he is sorry, excuse me. He is a lot better than Tyler Lockett for sure. We've seen Tyler Lockett fall off a cliff, be scared of contact. We love Tyler Lockett. I'm not trying to disrespect Tyler Lockett here. But I will say Cooper Kupp, Tyler Lockett.
It's a big time upgrade.
Yeah, there's big upgrades there, especially in the big 2026.
Yes, sir. There's levels to this.
There really is. Look, he's back. He steps up in the big moments. He had a big touchdown in that game. He's one of the huge reasons why they're able to advance this far. Would you say he's a top 10 player in the Super Bowl right now?
Probably, yeah. With his experience, yeah. I would say so.
Another question for you from the chat here, from Jacob Brigham. Should Cooper Kupp partner with the Stanley Cups? This one's for Nolan.
Cooper Kupp partner with the Stanley Cup? I mean, yeah, but the question is, what's he gonna do? He's not beating Lightning McQueen. He's not beating Jackson Storm.
That's the wrong cup. What are you talking about?
The Piston Cup?
The Piston Cup. We're talking Stanley Cup here. We're talking two different sports.
Oh, Stanley's a Piston Cup. That's on me. That one's on me. I heard Piston
I think the Piston Cup might be a better question, though.
I think the Piston Cup is the greatest competition in sports. I mean, you got the greatest you got the six-peat, man. You got Lightning McQueen, you got the rookie Jackson Storm, and wow, we got some great athletes there. But the Stanley Cup and Cooper Cup, I mean, man. NIL, man, if that was happening back in the day, that NIL deal would have gone through the roof. Like,
put him on the cup.
Imagine him.
Have him join the Seattle Kraken.
Imagine him holding up the Piston Cooper, like a Stanley Cup, with all this money. There's like $1 million, and it just says like Cooper Cup on it. And what could have been?
What could have been?
Good.
What could have been?
Could have been.
What could have
been there?
All right, boys. Let's talk some fighting here. We've had some fighting words from the chat. We need some fighting here. Look, UFC 324 has come and gone. It has come and gone. UFC 324. We had some pretty good battles, and we had some absolute beatdowns. So let's start with the main card here. Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett. I thought age would be a big difference. It was not. Justin Gaethje went out there. He looked confident. He looked ready, and he just absolutely beat the piss out of one Paddy Pimblett. Rob, talk to me a little bit about this main fight.
Bro, Jeremy, I cannot believe when I went back and saw the highlights of this fight, because there were extracurriculars happening that caused me not to see the fight live. But that's not beyond the point. That's beyond the point. When we're looking at this fight, this was a ridiculous fight. Justin Gaethje came out of nowhere. I mean, literally, we thought age was going to play a difference in this fight. It was actually experience. Justin Gaethje is one of the most legendary fighters in the lightweight division right now. It was his experience. Yeah, he might be 37 years old, but that's 37 years of experience that showed out in this fight. He outstriked him. He was 3 for 3 on takedowns. Paddy Pimblett went 0 for 5. I mean, it was an absolute beatdown by Justin Gaethje, and I'm just shocked Paddy Pimblett stood there for that long and took all that punishment and wouldn't go down. That's honestly a lot of props to him for that.
And the fact, like you said, the fact that he finished out that fight, I mean, that shows you why he was even in contention for that belt right there. So shout out to him. He was never going to win that. He just stood in like a warrior. He didn't get knocked out, and he can hold his head high like that. But I'm sure he wants another crack at it at some point soon, and maybe he will get it. But that wasn't the main. That wasn't the only fight on the main card. We saw another pretty good one between. Oh my god, and I'm blanking on it right here, Rob. But 324. Sean O'Malley. We saw Sean O'Malley lose that one as well. Talk to me a little bit about that fight.
Sean O'Malley lost that one?
I believe
No, he
so.
won.
If
He
I'm
won.
looking at the wrong,
No,
I might be looking at the wrong thing here. Oh, I was looking at
he won.
his last
He
fight.
was undisputed.
Yep.
It was an anonymous decision.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, he won. He beat Song Yadong. I mean, it was a really close fight. Yadong uh, took him down way more, but I mean, in terms of strikes, it was Sugar Sean O'Malley's fight. He was the better striker. He was more precision, and you could honestly see it in their faces. Sugar Sean O'Malley was just rocking back and forth, a little bit of bruising, while Song Yadong was there with a bloody nose and a bloody lip, and just looking at Sean O'Malley saying, "Whoa, I didn't know you had that kind of power." Sugar Sean O'Malley is one of the best strikers in the UFC. Everybody knows it. He's the best striker in the bantamweight division, and he proved why he deserves a shot at Piotr Jan for that belt.
Yeah. Title fight coming soon for those guys. 325 is right around the corner. We will preview that on Friday with a big main card. Another belt on the line. That is coming up again on Friday. But thank you, everybody, so much for tuning in to today's episode of the Triple Threat Show. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Big news out of the NFL. Bill Belichick not in the Hall of Fame. Not a first ballot Hall of Famer for arguably the greatest coach of all time. We'll cover that and much more. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.